Today is the 5th of November 2021, and we are going to review the latest document dump regarding the whole Fauci NIH funding Wuhan's gain-of-function research debacle. Earlier this week, the Informed Consent Action Network obtained 226 pages of documents by suing the National Institutes of Health in federal court. These documents show that the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases raised concerns in early 2016 that taxpayer funds were being used for gain-of-function research in Wuhan, even though the federal government issued a pause on this type of research in 2014. EcoHealth Alliance apparently convinced the government that it was not conducting gain-of-function research, so everything continued on without any further questioning. As I'm sure many of you know, during a Senate hearing on July 20th, 2021, Senator Rand Paul accused Dr. Fauci of lying when he testified at a prior congressional hearing, stating that the NIH never funded gain-of-function research in Wuhan. ICANN wanted actual proof of Dr. Fauci's claim, so they issued a FOIA request to the NIH for documents showing the basis for Dr. Fauci's claims. At a July 20th, 2021 Senate hearing at which Dr. Fauci appeared and had an exchange with Senator Rand Paul, Dr. Fauci stated, quote, "This paper that you are referring to was judged by qualified staff up and down the chain as not being gain-of-function," end quote. Please provide 1. Any and all documents and communications identifying the, quote, qualified staff, end quote, who reviewed the 2015 paper. 2. All communications from the referenced, quote, qualified staff, end quote, regarding each of their conclusions about whether or not the 2015 paper's subject matter is considered gain-of-function. And 3. Any other documentation or communications in Dr. Fauci's possession regarding the 2015 paper. After the NIH failed to respond, ICANN sued them in federal court and acquired yet another document dump. The documents clearly show that NIAID was concerned that it may have funded gain-of-function research in Wuhan through a grant to EcoHealth Alliance. On May 28th of 2016, NIAID sent EcoHealth this email. Dear Mr. Chimura, based upon information in the most recent progress report, NIAID has determined that the above-referenced grant may include gain-of-function research that is subject to the U.S. government funding pause issued on October 17, 2014. The following specific aims appear to involve research covered under the pause. Aim 3. Testing predictions of coronavirus interspecies transmission. As per the funding pause announcement, new U.S. government funding will not be released for gain-of-function research projects that may be reasonably anticipated to confer attributes to influenza, MERS, or SARS viruses such that the virus would have enhanced pathogenicity and/or transmissibility in mammals via the respiratory route. Therefore, the next non-competing segment of the award that starts June 1st, 2016 cannot be released until a determination is reached based on the receipt and review of the information requested below. The research funding pause would not apply to characterization or testing of naturally occurring influenza, MERS, or SARS viruses, unless the tests are reasonably anticipated to increase transmissibility and/or pathogenicity. NIAID requests that you provide the following information within 15 days of the date of this letter. Determination as to whether the above research does or does not include gain-of-function work subject to the funding pause. Please provide a detailed explanation for this determination, including, but not limited to, descriptions of the MERS and MERS-like chimeric coronaviruses that you propose to create, and detailed descriptions of the experiments you plan to conduct. Your determination should also include whether each chimeric virus is reasonably anticipated to exhibit enhanced pathogenicity and/or transmissibility in mammals via the respiratory route compared to wild-type MERS coronavirus. In addition, your progress report makes reference to 2 chimeric bat SARS-like coronaviruses constructed on a WIV1 backbone. NIAID requests additional information on these strains of SARS-like coronaviruses, including the dates the strains were created, whether the chimeric viruses exhibited enhanced pathogenicity and/or transmissibility in mammals via the respiratory route compared to wild-type SARS coronavirus, and what research plans you have for these chimeric viruses. If it is determined that the above research does include gain-of-function work subject to the funding pause, provide detailed information on what research will remain viable within the removal of the gain-of-function work and appropriate budget adjustments. Options include, for the specific aims that propose gain-of-function work, provide a detailed description of changes that can be made to remove the gain-of-function work but maintain the specific aims, or remove the specific aims and experiments that are subject to the pause from the research plan and request to have the award budget renegotiated. EcoHealth President and Chief Scientist Dr. Peter Daszak responded to NIAID on the 8th of June, 2016. Here are some notable excerpts from that response. Firstly, we would like to reiterate that this work is proposed for Year 3, and none has been conducted to date. Furthermore, we will not proceed with any of this unless we are given the go-ahead by NIAID. The goal of our proposed work to construct MERS and MERS-like chimeric coronaviruses is to understand the potential origins of MERS coronavirus in bats by studying bat MERS-like coronaviruses in detail. The chimeric viruses will be used to ascertain receptor usage and infectivity of bat MERS-related coronaviruses in vitro and in mouse model. To achieve this purpose, our aim is to firstly construct a MERS coronavirus infectious clone based on the genomic sequence of EMC 2012, and then chimeric coronaviruses with the replacement of the spike envelope genes from bat-derived MERS-like coronaviruses. We have very recently discovered a small number, 9 different strains, of bat MERS-like coronaviruses in 99 samples from bats in Guangxi, Guangdong, and Sichuan provinces. I totally butchered the name of that last province, but let's just roll with it. Phylogenetically, these bat viruses are not very close to MERS coronavirus, only 63 to 66% homology to the S protein of MERS coronavirus. These 2 chimeric bat-like coronaviruses were constructed on September 24, 2015. They used the backbone of a group 2B SARS-like bat coronavirus, WIV1, and the spike proteins of 2 newly discovered bat SL coronaviruses. The construction of these chimeric viruses aims to understand the receptor usage and infectivity of bat SL coronaviruses that may be progenitors of SARS coronavirus. We have not yet tested the pathogenicity of these viruses in animals. We believe that this work would not be considered gain-of-function because the pause specifically targeted experiments that altered the pathogenicity or transmissibility of SARS coronavirus, MERS coronavirus, and any influenza virus. Our molecular clone is WIV1, which is a group 2B SARS-like bat coronavirus that has never been demonstrated to infect humans or cause human disease. It is about 10% different from SARS coronavirus. Thus, we feel that introducing other group 2B SARS-like bat coronavirus spike glycoproteins into WIV1 is not subject to the pause. Moreover, we are introducing progressively more distant S-glycoproteins into WIV1, so it seems progressively less likely that any of these viruses would be more pathogenic or transmissible than the SARS coronavirus. Yours sincerely, Dr. Peter Daszak, President and Chief Scientist, EcoHealth Alliance. On July 7th, 2016, NIAID concluded that EcoHealth's research was not gain-of-function, and therefore not subject to the federal pause. On the 20th of October 2021, the NIH grudgingly admitted that this research in Wuhan was in fact gain-of-function in this letter to the Committee on Oversight and Reform. Dear Representative Comer, thank you for your continued interest in the work of the National Institutes of Health. I am writing today to provide additional information and documents regarding NIH's grant to EcoHealth Alliance. The limited experiment described in the final progress report provided by EcoHealth Alliance was testing if spike proteins from naturally occurring bat coronaviruses circulating in China were capable of binding to the human ACE2 receptor in a mouse model. All other aspects of the mice, including the immune system, remained unchanged. In this limited experiment, laboratory mice infected with the SHC-014 WIV1 bat coronavirus became sicker than those infected with the WIV1 bat coronavirus. As sometimes occurs in science, this was an unexpected result of the research, as opposed to something that the researchers set out to do. Regardless, the viruses being studied under this grant were genetically very distant from SARS-CoV-2. The research plan was reviewed by NIH in advance of funding, and NIH determined that it did not fit the definition of research involving enhanced pathogens of pandemic potential.
Enhanced pathogens of
because these bat coronaviruses had not been shown to infect humans. As such, the research was not subject to departmental review under the HHS P3CO framework. However, Out of an abundance of caution, and as an additional layer of oversight, language was included in the terms and conditions of the grant award to EcoHealth that outlined criteria for a secondary review, such as a requirement that the grantee report immediately a 1 log increase in growth. These measures would prompt a secondary review to determine whether the research aims should be reevaluated or new biosafety measures should be enacted. EcoHealth failed to report this finding right away, as was required by the terms of the grant. EcoHealth is being notified that they have 5 days from today to submit to NIH any and all unpublished data from the experiments and work conducted under this award. Additional compliance efforts continue. Sources will be linked in the description below as always. Please do not take what I say as the infallible truth. Listen to everything, believe nothing, look up as much credible information as possible, do your own research, and come to your own conclusions. Please note that I am suing a local library and gym for wrongfully terminating my ability to utilize their services due to my doctor-issued medical exemption from wearing face coverings. Those discriminatory actions have had severe consequences, like reducing my ability to shower from once a day down to once or twice a month. It is a precedent-setting case that is going to lay the foundational standard for people that are denied services because they are unable to wear face coverings. Furthermore, I've spent copious amounts of time over the last couple of years attempting to enact neurospecific human rights into Canadian legislation, during which I have acquired the support of half a dozen current members of Parliament. We desperately need some absolute human rights which cannot be restricted or suspended for any reason, even during a declared state of emergency, especially considering the egregious historical context of catastrophes like MKUltra. For the latest updates on my neuro rights efforts, please visit globalneuroethics.com. If you would like to support my work, I have PayPal, GoFundMe, Patreon, Subscribestar, Crypto. I even have a P.O. box. You name it, I got it. All the links are in the description below. Feel free to like, share, and subscribe, and always remember that tyranny does not come from tyrants. Tyranny comes from mass compliance. Peace out and be safe.